What if I told you that pieces of the moon are scattered across Earth, gifted to countries, displayed in museums, and in some cases completely missing? After the historic Apollo missions, NASA and the United States government didn't just bring moon rocks back for science. They also distributed small fragments as diplomatic gifts to nations around the world. These lunar samples became symbols of unity, achievement, and humanity's shared victory in reaching another world. But decades later, many of these priceless cosmic treasures have vanished, been stolen, or even replaced with fakes, creating one of the strangest mysteries in space history. Between 1969 and 1972, NASA's Apollo missions returned with nearly 842 pounds of lunar material. These samples were incredibly valuable to scientists because they revealed the moon's geological history, its volcanic activity, and even clues about how Earth and the moon formed billions of years ago. However, alongside scientific research, the United States decided to use these rocks as goodwill gifts. President Richard Nixon personally arranged for small fragments of moon rocks collected during Apollo 11 and Apollo 17 to be mounted in acrylic display plaques. These plaques also included tiny national flags that had been carried to the moon and back. More than 130 countries received these lunar gifts, along with U.S. states and territories. At the time, these gifts were priceless not just scientifically, but symbolically. They represented global cooperation and inspired hope during the Cold War era. Each country proudly displayed its moon rock, often placing it in national museums or government buildings where citizens could witness a real piece of another world. But as years passed, tracking these lunar samples became surprisingly difficult. Records were incomplete, ownership changed, and in some cases, political instability caused these artifacts to disappear. Investigators and journalists began searching for missing moon rocks and discovered a shocking truth. Several of them had vanished without any clear explanation. One of the most famous cases involved Malta. The moon rock gifted to the country after Apollo 11 was placed in a museum, but later disappeared. For years, no one knew where it went. Similar mysteries surfaced in countries like Honduras, Romania, and Nicaragua, where political upheaval and regime changes made it easy for priceless artifacts to vanish into private collections or black markets. In Romania, the moon rock gifted during the Cold War disappeared after the fall of the communist government. Investigators later suspected that it had been stolen or sold during the chaotic political transition. In Honduras, reports suggested that the moon rock was kept by a former president and never returned to public display. Stories like these highlight how fragile the preservation of history can be, even when dealing with objects that traveled across space. The mystery deepened when authorities discovered that some moon rocks appearing on the market were actually fake. In the early 2000s, NASA and the FBI launched undercover operations to track illegal lunar samples being sold. In one famous sting operation, investigators posed as buyers and discovered individuals attempting to sell what they claimed were authentic moon rocks. Laboratory testing revealed that most of these samples were ordinary Earth rocks with no lunar origin. Real moon rocks are extremely rare and carefully controlled. Scientific testing shows they contain unique isotopic compositions and mineral structures formed in the moon's low-gravity environment. Because of these characteristics, authentic lunar samples are nearly impossible to replicate convincingly. Yet, the black market continued to attract scammers trying to profit from humanity's fascination with space. Interestingly, some moon rocks were recovered after years of being lost. In the Netherlands, a rock believed to be a genuine lunar sample turned out to be petrified after scientific testing. This discovery shocked museum officials and demonstrated how easily misinformation can spread when dealing with rare cosmic artifacts. In the United States, moon rocks given to individual states have also faced challenges. Some were misplaced, stolen, or forgotten in storage. Investigators spent years searching archives, contacting officials, and tracing historical documents to rediscover these samples. In several cases, moon rocks were found locked inside safes or hidden in government vaults, untouched for decades. The disappearance of moon rocks raises important questions about humanity's responsibility toward preserving space heritage. These samples are not just scientific materials. They represent one of the greatest achievements in human exploration. They are physical proof that humanity reached another celestial body and returned safely with pieces of it. Scientists continue studying lunar samples today using advanced technology unavailable during the Apollo era. Modern research techniques allow scientists to analyze microscopic structures, water content, and chemical signatures that reveal new details about the moon's formation and evolution. These studies also help researchers understand how planetary bodies develop across the solar system. The mystery of missing moon rocks also reminds us how history can be lost if not carefully protected. Some investigators and historians are still searching for missing lunar samples, hoping to recover them for public display and scientific study. Their work combines detective investigation, scientific research, and historical analysis, making it one of the most fascinating treasure hunts connected to space exploration. Today, moon rocks remain among the rarest and most valuable natural materials on Earth. Unlike precious gems or metals, their value comes from their origin. They are pieces of another world, formed billions of years ago, untouched by Earth's atmosphere or geological activity. Each fragment carries a story about the birth of our moon and the history of our solar system. The journey of moon rocks from the lunar surface to Earth and into museums, vaults, and mysterious disappearances reflects both humanity's greatest triumphs and its vulnerabilities. These rocks remind us of what we achieved during the Apollo missions and challenge us to protect our shared cosmic heritage. As new space missions plan to return humans to the moon and eventually travel to Mars, the importance of preserving extraterrestrial samples will only grow. The story of missing moon rocks teaches us that exploration is not just about discovery. It is also about responsibility, preservation, and respect for the artifacts that connect us to the universe. Somewhere on Earth, lost pieces of the moon may still exist, hidden in forgotten collections, private vaults, or unknown locations. Their mystery continues to inspire scientists, historians, and space enthusiasts who hope that one day, every fragment of the moon will be accounted for and preserved for future generations.